Hi there, it's Jeanette from my home studio for Forest Ceramics. If you've seen my previous video on Let's Make Glaze, where you saw me open the kiln with all my test tiles, got a little bit excited, didn't I? I was just heading on a flight and I've actually been on that flight to Amsterdam. I've come back home for 3 days and then I've been off to Canada. So there was a piece in the top that was all multicoloured that I wanted to refire. I did refire it. I was so pleased I refired it. I threw on loads of extra flux, a bit of extra stroke and coat, and that is actually on my Instagram feed for Forest Ceramics if you want to see the finished piece. But this video is really for those potters who want to know what were the glazes I actually tried, the actual recipe, and a full close-up of each individual tile. So if you're not interested in that, don't bother, carry on watching. I literally just tried to take a little video of each test tile, top shelf and bottom shelf, to compare the two, and also I've put the recipe card from Joe at Old Forge Creations in the video as well. It's not very brilliant and pretty, but I just pieced them all together as best as I can. I will follow this up in the next few days. I'm actually off on another work trip for a couple of days, but when I come back I'm going to follow that up by a little mini recording showing you how I actually put these test tiles on my Instagram for Forest Ceramics Glaze tests feed, and a lot more detail about how I do my inventory, digital filing cabinet and that sort of stuff, and possibly how I actually file them on my test tile wall. I don't know yet, haven't quite worked it all out. I don't know how much you want to see, I don't know. But for now, just a little intro, all the 20 glazes that I tried coming up now. Thanks ever so much, see you soon, bye bye. Hi, so going through all the glazes here one by one and trying to just analyse a summary of each one. So the first one I'm going to do is what I'm calling number 9. So this is Old Forge First 5 Floating Cobalt. So I think this should be the one in the centre. So the one that fired on the top is here. I'm hoping you can see that okay. Some very nice soft movement in that. I'll move that over there. I'll put the paper down, then I'll try and make sure I can focus on this tile. So that's on the texture. And if I show you, this was fired on the bottom. So I don't see any difference with these two. I will reference in the notes what weight. This was a 3-second dip of the actual test. And then the back of this one, I love that. Absolutely love that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at those tiny flecks in it. It's got like a movement, it's not a flat colour. Lovely gloss on it, look at that gloss. Really nice. Beautiful. Success, that one, definitely a success. So now we're going for Blurple. Mine hasn't turned out like Joe's. I don't know why the centre one's got the lovely blue in it, but it's supposed to be purple. And this is not doing anything over the texture. It's a nice solid purple. Close up, trying to get the focus. Now this is Blurple, another Blurple, first 5. But this is the one you can see I added an extra ingredient that shouldn't be in there. So that's what it should have turned out like. This is what it turned out like. It's a nice deep purple. But I've obviously made it a lot darker than it should have been. So I will do the correct recipe on my next test. I just didn't have enough pots. If I compare that to the original Blurple, See, that's got more of a bluey tone in it. But either way, it's a nice solid purple. So this is Joe's glaze that everybody loves. Campfire, fewer crystals. I need to find the recipe that's got more crystals and see what the difference is. But that's what should come out like. And oh, I love this. Now the bit that I love is the darker areas here, because look at those gold flecks in them. I feel up here it needs thicker coating. If I turn them over, that maybe is easier to see. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oil spot. Opaque. It's hard to capture this one. To me, it looks more just like black. And it looks like it needs a dust. You see there, it's got like that strange finish on it. I wonder why. I'm not so keen on that one. Cherry blossom. Mine hasn't turned out like that. Mine's come out more purple. But I do like it. But it's not come out as Joe's. I wonder why. What is it that makes it different? Nice fleckles in it. Wonder why. Next one up, floating chrome. Okay, floating chrome. So here is, oh God, well, you can see how easy they snap off, no problem. So this is number 8 top, and this is how I then hang them on the wall. So, try again. Look at that. Oh, that is not as vibrant blue as Joe's, but I love that. I love it. Gorgeous. And the back's no difference between top and bottom, which I'm really pleased, so I don't have to worry which shelf I fire it on. Very, very nice. I really like that one. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Floating copper. So semi-opaque. And here's my results. There is on Joe's, the centre of Joe's is more dense, so I might try a thicker application next time on that one. If I recall, this glaze was quite runny as well, so maybe it needs to be thicker. But that's where I don't understand. That's where, is it hydrometer? Would help me with that. This is where I need to go on a course to learn out how to improve them. But it's still a very pretty glaze on its own. A soft turquoise. I can't believe I've made these. I've got to be honest. I really can't believe that I've made these glazes. Okay, floating iron and chrome. Mine hasn't come out like this. And again, Look, it's that same one, chrome oxide, and I've used chromium oxide, which I assume is the same. I need to check that out because mine hasn't come out. It's come out nice, but look at the speckles in that. I think this is one of those that's nicer to see in the flesh than it is on camera or a photograph. Quite nice, isn't it? Got a richness to it. It's also got like a sparkle, like it's got glitter in it. I like that. It's got a richness to it, but it's not. It's not that. For me, number 12. So this is floating iron. That's what it should be like. Mine's not quite like that, but I love it. Okay, this is top shelf and bottom shelf to the right. Let me move these into focus. How gorgeous is that? So it's breaking over the texture just slightly. Really lovely gloss on it. If I turn over to the back with no texture. I love that. Very, very nice. It's not as light as what Joe's is, so I wonder why. But nevertheless, I like it. So that is floating iron. Success. Mine doesn't look anything like this. What have I done wrong? Oh, I know. Okay. Well, maybe, maybe not. So that's what it should look like. That's what mine looks like. Now, here I've written chromium because I don't think chrome oxide we can't get in the UK, or I couldn't find it, so I've got chromium oxide. But look at the measurement of that 0.01. That might be worth trying with a different consistency. Yeah, I'd be nervous of making that up in a batch as to how that would turn out. Gold. Now I would say this is success, but I think I'd play around with the finish. This is very hard with the reflection to try and bring up on camera so you can see. I mean, you can see the gold, but what I'm not so keen on, it looks like it's got wrinkles in it and it's not round the edges. So I think that needs a bit more playing around with. If only I knew how to play around with it a bit more. Interesting. That's my favourite word, interesting. Ivory, which is obviously layered on top of something here. So this is one for layering, which I will try. And I think that's quite a nice ivory. Very nice. It's got a warmth to it. Nice base. Nice. Now I maybe read this one wrong. So this is microcrystal. I'm wondering if he applies this over the top of another glaze, because it says transparent. I thought it was going to come out blue, but it's saying it's transparent. So he's obviously layered this on top of something else, which is why mine are transparent. It's also saying it's quite sensitive to get the amount of crystals. So now this is making a bit more sense.
the top, let me put them the same as the other way, the top on the left and the bottom shelf on the right. The back, you can see those crystals. So what I need to do is layer that over another glaze, don't I, to see. So now I'm doing a Misty Forest, which is the one in the centre. Okay. This is more one tone all over. It's still a very nice glaze. Doesn't do anything over the texture, but just a nice, reminds me of Aurora Green. And the back with no texture. That's a nice solid base. It hasn't got the blue tinge in the middle, but I like that. That's very nice. So, Misty Morning centre one. Nice beautiful blue, translucent. Mine are not as bright as Joe's, but nevertheless still a nice blue. Sorry, trying to get the focus right for you. And the backs. Got like tiny flecks in. Can you see those? Tiny flecks in them. Number 23 for me, Sunrise. I've got to be honest, I don't know why I did this one. I'm not overly keen on what it's supposed to come out. It's translucent. Okay. It's come out pretty much as per Joe's recipe, but it's not really one of my favourites. Top shelf here on the left. Prefer the top shelf. That one has actually shown a difference in firing, hasn't it, in temperature, so obviously it likes it a bit hotter. It might be interesting to see that one on a cone 6.5, because it goes up to 7. I might try that one on a cone 6.5, because it's definitely more interesting at a higher temperature, would you say? Interesting. Oil spot. Semi-glossy, opaque. That's what it should be like. Let's see if I can try and get a close-up for you. It's hard to see this one. It is, it's not fully glossy. I don't know when I'd use that. The only thing I'd use that is maybe as a base of something with something over the top. These might layer quite nicely. Snowflake Crackle. Well, I can't see anything on there at all. No crackle in the slightest. I thought this was just a clear. That looks to me just like a clear glaze. So actually, that's not what I thought it was. Floating rutile. Semi-opaque, glossy. Let's have a look. So my top and my bottom shelf, that's pretty much come out exactly as Joe's. Really nice. I did actually do one with a slightly thicker coating, which is this one on the left, so it has come out slightly denser in colour, but very, very mild. And then the backs with no texture. Interesting, this one is slightly deeper orange, so that's fired on the top shelf. This was fired on the top shelf. This one is slightly thicker. These are my two top shelves. Lovely colour though, very nice. Floating rutile, success!